With respect to the refuge in particular, it seems to me that the real crux of the matter is that CDPHE and EPA and DOE rely on modeling, mathematical modeling of exposure and dosage and risk to claim that the site is protective of human health. Does anybody in the room know anything about those models? What assumptions they make, whether they are open to public scrutiny? Are they computer programs? How can they be examined and invalidated? Because I think invalidating those models by showing that they make invalid assumptions, like they don't account for the dust clouds that Elizabeth's son took a picture of on July 4th, for example, would be a powerful argument against the safety of the refuge. So does anybody here know anything about those models?
So Randy, I hired a toxicologist by the name of Michael Kosnet, who works at UC, the University of Colorado Hospital down in Denver, and he's $700 an hour. He's a well-known toxicologist, and he reviewed the EPA models, and he said, basically, 7 hours of work, that he felt it was done correct in terms of a toxicology model. But he excluded the possibility, his opinion did not take into account the sampling methodology. So I'm developing the idea that it's the sampling methodology that was the Achilles heel in the EPA analysis. Because, as Leroy has pointed out, a grid of 30-acre grids were superimposed on the refuge, and 25 samples were taken per grid. And then those samples were averaged to determine what the grid's hotspot average was. And when I did a case involving Globeville, the Asarco smelter, and we represented 300 families, and the families had little tiny yards. They were Latino families generally, and we insisted that there be 4 samples taken per yard. And each yard maybe was 1/8 of an acre, probably less. So that would be 32 samples per acre, and we were sampling for arsenic, which is far less toxic than plutonium. So here at the refuge, they were sampling 1 sample per acre, actually less, but let's just call it 1 sample per acre, and then that was averaged with 25 other samples in the grid compared with the 32 samples per acre we did in Globeville for arsenic. So Dr. Kosnet said, I'm not opining about the sampling methodology. Maybe they missed hotspots, I don't know. That's beyond my area of expertise. So I don't think it's a toxicological model. I think it's the sampling methodology. And I would like to get to the bottom of what is the RCRA requirement for a sampling methodology, and was that properly done here? Because that seems to me to be the problem. How the heck could they find the hotspots if they're taking 1 sample per acre, That's less than, that's 1 sample for the size of the Naropa campus. How are they going to find half a trigger that happened to be dropped off that, came up during our testimony at the hearing when one of our witnesses was saying that, they ran across a trigger one day. So you're going to miss that if you take 1 sample per acre.